All right, there we are. Thank you. So just want to take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Christine Quillitz. I'm the Family Services Coordinator with the Oakville Parent-Child Center. And I'm super excited to have Kira McDermott with us today. She's from the MCRC up in Milton. And I just wanted to take a minute to read over her beautiful bio because it's really interesting to hear a little bit more about Kira. So she began her work in a not-for-profit sector when she was only 18, following in her parents' footsteps of the March of Dimes. And since graduating from university, Kira's focus has been on the issue of gender inequality and specifically the impact on girls. She's worked with Girls Incorporated of Halton as a frontline program facilitator. She's worked in fund development and maximized community partnerships as a development coordinator before enhancing her leadership skills as director of programs. More recently, Kira has launched the She Can Girls Empowerment Programs at the Milton Community Resource Center, where she is currently working. She holds a bachelor's degree in fine arts in dance from York University and completed the diversity and nonprofits course at Ryerson University. And she is currently pursuing her master's of philanthropy and non-for-profit leadership at Carleton University. Beautiful. And she's gaining knowledge and skills to further develop, positively impact gender equity through the not-for-profit sector. And in her free time, Kira enjoys reading, drinking coffee, and enjoys canoe trips with her husband, Eric, and her dog, Callie. So lots of great information there to tell us a little bit more about Kira, but I'm really excited to have this opportunity with you tonight, Kira. So I'm going to pass it over to you.
Awesome. All right. Well, hi, everybody. And thank you, Christine, for the kind introduction. I am super excited to be joining you here this evening to share some information and strategies to contribute to self-esteem in girls ages 1 through 6 through this parenting webinar that we're presenting in collaboration with MCRC and OPCC. So to start, we would like to begin by acknowledging that Indigenous people have lived on and cared for this land for time immemorial. They had and continue to have a deep, abiding relationship with the land, the water, and all living creatures. The land on which MCRC is situated is part of the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Huron, and Wendat, and is more recently treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. We are grateful for the opportunity to be living and working on this land. So as Christine mentioned, I'm the supervisor of the She Can Girls Empowerment Programs at the Milton Community Resource Center. And I wanted to share a little bit about these programs so that you can increase your awareness of the resources in the community, but also understand where my knowledge base is coming from. So the She Can programs are designed to empower and uplift girls in the Halton community. These are girls-centered programs that foster strength, resilience, and more through hands-on activities and thought-provoking discussions. And we have programs that focus on leadership, healthy living, mindfulness, self-expression, boundary setting, peer pressure, media literacy, and of course, self-esteem. And these programs are for girls a little bit older than the webinar that we're focusing on tonight. They're for school-aged girls, inclusive of transgender and cisgender girls and non-binary youth. So perhaps a little bit when your kids are a little bit older. Christine, I'm just noticing there's 2 more people in the waiting room. Thanks. Okay, so through this webinar, we will go through some statistics on self-esteem in girls, the likely causes, and what caregivers can do to address these issues. And we will go through a scenario. At the end, I'd be happy to answer any questions. So feel free to write them in the chat as we go, and we'll get to them at the end, or you can save them till the end and there'll be time then for you to ask them. I expect that the presentation itself will take about 10-15 minutes, and then we'll have time for questions after that.
Kira, I'm just going to launch that poll so we can have a general idea of the ages. So I'm going to see if that will work for us, okay?
Perfect.
So yeah, just trying to get some idea of our audience and some of the ages of our children that we're talking about tonight. So if you can take a minute to fill out this poll, and then I can share the results. I'm assuming hoping you can see the poll.
I can see it.
You can?
Mhm.
I can't, Christine. Would I
You
be
can't see
seeing
it? I didn't know
I
if
saw
we
it.
could.
I saw
Go
it for
ahead.
a second, Christine, and then it disappeared.
Hmm.
So maybe you just need to
Relaunch
make it
poll. Let me try again.
Yeah.
Now?
perfect. Now I see it.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank
could
you.
you- could you do that one more time? My apologies for not being fast enough.
Is it still not in front of you?
It went away. I clicked and it,
I don't know if I can relaunch it, but I will. But you can just, so what the poll is just the ages. So I have infant to 2-year-olds, 2 to 6, and 6+.
6+.
She's 6+ now. Okay. Oh my goodness. I can't believe that. Okay, so we have a bit of a variety. Most of them, Kira, if you can see there, that the majority of our families tonight at 58% have 2 to 6-year-olds. We have a few coming in at the 6+, and then we have a few with infant to 2. So just a general idea. Thanks, everyone.
Yes, thank you. All right. And I just wanted to share a disclaimer before we get into some of the information, just that none of the information shared in this presentation is meant to cause guilt. We're all doing the best that we can with what we have, and this presentation is really just meant to increase your awareness. And just a note on the data that I'm going to be sharing, all the data presented will specify if it is about girls in particular or all children. And while my area of expertise is certainly on girls, and self-esteem does seem to affect more girls than boys, this issue does still affect all children, and many of these strategies are going to be beneficial for all children. So just keep that in mind as we go through this. All right, so in Canada today, 80 to 90% of women and girls are unhappy with the way they look. And this information comes from the Canadian Women's Health Network. More than half of girls, 55 to 59%, and approximately a third of boys, 33 to 35%, age 6 to 8, indicate their ideal bodies are thinner than their current bodies. So young children develop body image alongside the growth of their physical and cognitive abilities. And with this, children as young as 6 are aware of dieting. And by 7 years old, 1 in 4 children has engaged in dieting behavior. So this would be things like restricting food or restricting certain types of food. And from looking at these statistics, it is an issue that is affecting girls and children in general. So it's really important that we have strategies to help children cope. So body dissatisfaction can lead to a number of negative health consequences, and the most impactful being unhealthy dieting and weight loss strategies and an increased risk of eating disorders. There are multiple societal impacts affecting self-esteem for young children. The first is the media, and for this 1 to 6 age group, this is usually TV shows and movies. So as they grow older, social media like Instagram and TikTok also can really impact self-esteem. So girls hear from the media the message that it is important to be young, beautiful, and thin. And female characters on TV and movies are twice as likely to have an extremely small waist compared to their male counterparts. Societal and cultural factors also affect body image. So norms in race, class, and gender do have impacts as well. And finally, the family environment does have a big impact. Children's perception of their mother's body dissatisfaction impacted their own body dissatisfaction, and girls whose fathers expressed concern about their weight or size judge themselves to be less physically able. So again, this information is not meant to cause guilt, and in fact, I think in some ways this could be viewed as empowering news. It can be really hard to moderate what messages girls are receiving from the media, but we can adjust how we speak about ourselves and others around us, which can have a hugely positive impact. And I did want to pause here before we jump into some strategies to draw your attention to how age correlates with self-esteem. So as we grow older, their self-confidence tends to tends to drop. So sorry, as girls grow older, their self-confidence tends to drop. And so for girls ages 1 to 6, many of these strategies are meant to provide a strong base for our girls prior to this shift. And for those of you with girls, older than 6, these are still great strategies to help cope when they may be feeling lower self-esteem. All right, so what can you do to help address this? Caregivers can adopt a health at every size model. They can promote body neutrality, and they can model the behavior that you'd like to see. And we will go through each of these in more detail. Health at every size is an alternative to the weight-centered approach to health. It focuses on increasing health-promoting behaviors rather than focusing on weight loss. And what does this look like in your everyday life? So when discussing or encouraging physical activity with children, frame it as something positive. So for example, we exercise because it makes us feel good, it can help reduce our stress, and because it's fun. And when discussing food, we don't want to equate morality with food. So for example, eating a cookie is bad, but eating a salad is good. This could contribute to guilt or negativity around food, especially because we want to acknowledge that while food is fuel and super important for our bodies, it's also something that we use for celebrations, it's social. We tend to share food with people that we love, and it's really important for our family and cultural traditions. So again, eating certain types of food doesn't make us good or bad, but our actions and how we treat others does. I wanted to share this quote by Cherie Macro, who works in the eating disorder recovery space, on why this mindset is beneficial for children. Children focus on caring for their bodies in ways that feels good instead of punishing the body for being wrong through restriction, deprivation, overexercising, etc. By honoring, accepting, and having gratitude for their bodies from a young age, children learn to listen to their body signals, which in turn promotes whole health. Next, another mindset you can adopt is body neutrality, which encourages you to accept the body that you're in and focus on its achievements rather than its appearance. This movement is sort of in response to the body positivity movement, which you might be aware of. Body positivity really focuses on loving your body. And while this is great, for someone with low self-esteem, this might be too high of a goal. So body neutrality is a great alternative. I also think it's beneficial because it encourages us to focus on our attributes that are more important than our appearances. So body neutrality proactively guards against children internalizing the thin ideal messaging that our society so heavily promotes. One specific way that caregivers can bring this into their parenting is to give praise that focuses on capabilities rather than physical appearance. So for example, complimenting how kind they were to somebody else in your family or one of their friends, complimenting an achievement when they get to school, praising their sense of humor when they make a funny joke, and praising their determination or perseverance when learning something new. And this definitely isn't to say you shouldn't ever compliment them on their appearance. I would just recommend being mindful of balancing it out with other praise as well. And this can help girls recognize their value for their actions rather than their appearance. One activity that we do with the participants in the She Can program is called All My Body Can Do. And this is where they write or draw their attributes unrelated to their physical appearance. So for example, they may label, that their strong legs let them ride their bikes, their brains let them solve challenging math problems, or their arms let them do cartwheels, things like that. And Christine has agreed to send this out in the next couple of days after this webinar. So if you think this could be helpful for you or your children, this can be a great resource for sure. The final strategy that I want to bring up today is to model the behavior. So this one is super important because, as you may remember, the way that parents talked about themselves or their children has an impact on their child's body dissatisfaction. So caregivers can speak about themselves in kind and caring ways, specifically not labeling food as good or bad and not framing exercise as a punishment for overeating or to look a certain way. And this models your care and respect for your body to your children. In addition, caregivers can refrain from discussing bodies negatively or positively. And this includes your own body, your children's bodies, other people's bodies. So for example, even saying, you know, so-and-so is so pretty, it really reinforces that appearances are an important value to you. And one activity that you could do with your child is to make positive affirmations part of your routine. And positive affirmations are specific statements that help one overcome negative thoughts. So with young children, this can be a really fun repeat after me activity. And as children get older, they can come up with their own positive affirmations that you can say together. So for example, I am capable, I am strong, I am worthy. And I wanted to go through one scenario of something that unfortunately we do hear participants say in our programs from time to time. And I know that it's helpful to have a strong response in those situations. So if your child says something along the lines of, I hate how my body looks, I do have some recommendations on how you can respond. So generally, we want to acknowledge how they are feeling, reassure them that they aren't alone, tell them how you see them in such a positive way, and then provide a strategy to help them overcome their low self-esteem. So for example, I might respond with, I'm so sorry that you're feeling this way. I want you to know that you're not alone. Sadly, lots of girls and women don't like how their bodies look. I want you to know that I think you are beautiful and wonderful. Can I share something that helps me? I try to focus on all of the wonderful things my body can do rather than how my body looks. Can you think of something your body can do that you're proud of? And I find that this response is helpful because it directs them right to thinking of themselves through that body neutrality lens that we talk about. It can be really helpful for their self-esteem. All right, so that was my short and sweet presentation. Thank you so much for listening. And I'd love to answer any questions if you find that helpful.
Thanks, Kira. It's lovely. So much information jam-packed in there. I welcome everybody. If you do have any questions, feel forward to unmute yourself if that's easier, or I can keep an eye on the chat as well. As Kira mentioned, we are going to send out the image of a body that you can sit down with your child and, you know, just talk about different body parts and what their functions are and what they do for us. So, you know, follow your child's lead with that activity. But I am going to send that out along with the recording in the next few days. In the meantime, does anyone have any thoughts or questions?
Oh, I see Danielle has her hand up.
Yeah, I have a question if it's all right. My daughter Tamsin's approaching her first birthday, so this is a really timely webinar to help prepare me to start raising a girl. These activities sound amazing and it'll be great when she's older, but I'm wondering, would you know of any resources for slightly younger children? Are there any books that I could get that we could start talking about this? And, you know, maybe at bedtime reading a book about kind of body neutrality or like positive affirmations or anything like that?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And what a great way to just have that conversation ongoing. I don't have any that are coming to mind right now, but I'm happy to look into some and then send those along to Christine and she can send them out.
That would be great.
I do need to look a little bit more into that specifically. I know that recently I did pass along as well to Kira an article that I'm going to send out as well, and it might just be taking some of the concepts that we're talking about, not only today, but, you know, in other resources and material that we might cover and trying to adapt it. And some of the things that Kira and I chatted about as we were, you know, getting ready for this presentation that's like typically focused a little bit older is like just being aware of things like that, even at a young age. So for example, when you're taking that time to enjoy foods together, even at 1 year old, and your little one may be in their high chair, is maybe how you describe the foods, or instead of necessarily even at, you know, that young age saying this is good or this is bad, you're maybe talking about the texture of the food, so that you're starting with positive food associations even at a very young age. So it is taking a lot of what we're talking about and just sort of simplifying it. Sounds easier than it is, I know. The other thing I did want to share with everyone today, can you guys see me? I think I have a book here. It's called Growing Strong Girls. This is a book, again, it's typically for older children, but I have this book. If anybody would like to borrow it, just email me and you can certainly take that out and borrow it as well. And I'm thinking, again, some of the material might be adaptable to that younger age.
Thank you so much. That's great.
Good.
I have a question, if that's okay.
Of course.
So I have a 6-year-old daughter, and we have been uncovering recently that she has school anxiety. And I wanted to know what I could do to help her with that confidence or self-esteem at school. If you have any suggestions. It's like she's two different people. The person that I have at home and the person that is at school is like these two different girls.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds really challenging. I know a big thing that helps build girls' self-esteem is having things that, they're doing, that they're accomplishing. And that can be hobbies, that can be grades at school and things like that. And I know, as girls get older, those friendships get more and more important. So finding ways to ensure that even one good friend that sort of helps relieve that anxiety, helps increase that confidence, can be super helpful. Scheduling some play dates, talking about what a good friend is can be helpful to help her identify who's going to be that positive influence. And yeah, I think, the positive affirmations might be a big one too, just to sort of help overcome some of that negative thinking that's maybe going on.
Thank you so much. And just another quick question. At school, they've learned, I guess they've done a health unit around food. And so she'll ask me if she's gonna eat something. She'll say to me, "Mommy, will this help me grow?" And so I've been answering her, like, honestly. I've been saying, like, if it's fruit, oh yeah, that's good for you to grow. But if it's something on the sweet side, I will say to her, that's got a lot of sugar, and a lot of sugar isn't good for us. Is that okay? Or am I setting up that negative, like it's not neutral?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's tricky because we certainly want to teach children about healthy eating, right? So I think it's phrasing it and not turning it into bad or good, and not turning it into foods we eat and foods that we don't. But there can be some awareness of, oh, after you eat this sweet thing, how do you feel? Because that's really what we want girls to tune into is, does this food help me feel good? And then hopefully that helps promote more of that healthy eating.
Except kids like feel really good after having ice cream.
Yeah.
I feel you, Sienna. Like, I was gonna ask the same question actually, because it's like, I don't call her bad, but I'm like, well, we can't have 10 cookies because we'll feel bad. And she'll be like, I never feel bad eating cookies. Like,
right. Yeah, it's certainly a balance of, we don't want to turn it into bad and good while still talking about, we do need to eat foods that are healthy, that help us grow. We do want to eat the rainbow of fruits and veggies. So it's certainly a balance. And, I'm not a dietitian. I'm not so I don't want to give super specific recommendations of do's or don'ts. I would just be careful about, labeling things as bad or good. It's all food. It's all, cookies are yummy, ice cream's yummy, so are apples, so are, carrots, whatever it is.
I think, yeah, that's great, Kira. I think a lot of it really just is about around the education piece of it. Is there, talking about what, if you're eating an orange is full of vitamin C. So like actually just making it factual conversation. And if you are eating a cookie, you're going to say, oh, there's a lot of white sugar in a cookie, you know, like it just might be a bit of that as well. So you're not being dishonest with them, you're sharing it, but you're also not necessarily, like Kira said, labeling it as bad or good, or that you know, are labeling them as bad or good for eating that particular food. That's a very tricky line, you know, that you can't, you have to find. And I know it can even go the other way, like body image and talking about food and all of these things. It's not just necessarily about being overweight or bigger. It's also like identifying our child all the time as, oh, you're too skinny, we need to fatten you up, like those kind of things, right? Like that can also create a little bit of insecurities around your body image and what you're eating. So it really is like the whole handful of things for sure.
Yeah. And off of that, I would really recommend when we're talking about food, not to make it about size, weight loss, weight gain, just really making it about, this is going to help us feel our best. And this is, you know, this is not going to be as good for our bodies. One resource that you could look into is there are some great sort of intuitive eating style, I don't know if they're dietitians or whatever, but that focus on children. So I can try to look some of those up and send those along to Christine as well. That, yeah, it's a little helpful with navigating this specific topic where we want to teach healthy eating. We also don't want to cause any body image or sort of eating disorder like situations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, and Christine in the chat said there's a great dietitian on Facebook that gives different ways to message food for all age levels.
Christine, if there's a way to find her name, but I get it if you can't.
Yeah, that sounds like it could be very helpful. It's not me, Christine, it's another Christine.
A different Christine.
But if she's able to find it, I'm sure she'll share it with us, or she can pass it on to me later and I can share it. Thank you for that. Any other questions or comments from our group? Anything anybody's thinking about?
Should we refrain from calling our like young children she or her?
Yeah, that is probably out of my scope, my area of expertise. So I don't have a super strong answer on it. I think it's very personal to your family and your children. I'm not sure, Christina, if you have anything else to add.
I think I align with your thinking. It's not within my scope, but I do believe that, you know, it really is a personal choice. You know, some families choose to, you know, avoid gender clothing and, you know, the pink and blue and all of that kind of thing. But it's definitely not something I'm knowledgeable in terms of, you know, where to find the resources to tackle that thought. But it's very much a personal choice, I think. And one that I think the whole family has to, you know, work together and embrace to be able to follow that path of that choice. Oh, here we go. It's Kids Eat and Color, a Facebook. I think it might be a Facebook group then that Christine has sent us from a dietitian on Facebook that sends the messages for the ages. That's awesome. Thank you, Christine. Appreciate that. Kids Eat in Color. Yeah, we really want to always talk about that rainbow of food on their plate, right? It's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or thoughts that anybody wants to put out there before we wrap things up?
Hi, we're super late putting our kid to bed, but we were wondering where can we find the recording for the talk?
You will, since you are registered as a participant, as soon as I transfer the recording and I collect the resources, you will receive them automatically within the next usually 5 or 6 days of today. So I'll work on that as soon as I can. You will get it automatically.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Okay, well, thank you everyone for being here tonight, and a special thank you to Kira. We really appreciate having you join us tonight, and I know that you're doing a lot of amazing work with young ladies up in Milton, so I know that there might be some people that reach out to you for potential programming opportunities. I hope everybody has a great night, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Kira,
Thank
just
you.
before you go, I missed the first few minutes. Could you talk a little bit about the programming that Christine was referring to in terms of where you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. And for anybody who wants to go ahead with their evening, all good. I won't be offended if you sign off now. Yeah, so She Can, we do serve all of Halton, but we're mostly based in Milton. We're looking to sort of expand, and we have programs. It is for school-aged girls, so we've really been focusing on that grade 3 to grade 8, but we do offer programs as young as 6, as long as there's sort of an interest for it. And we focus on things like leadership, healthy living, media literacy, self-esteem, confidence building. In the summer, we have a great baseball program that we run in collaboration with the Jays Care Foundation, so getting them up and moving and involved in sport. And we run programs virtually, in person. We offer after-school programs right to families, and then we actually collaborate. We have a partnership agreement with the Halton Catholic District School Board, and we run programs in school during the girls' lunch hours.
Okay, so if my daughter does not attend a Catholic school and we're in Oakville, are there any other options that you could kind of put me?
Yeah. So one thing is, if you're able to make the trek, you're welcome to come to Milton, but we do also have virtual programs. So that could be done in the comfort of your home. We drop off all the supplies. The programs are completely free. I don't think I've actually mentioned that, but we drop off all the supplies before the program starts. And so that can be a great option for our participants who are a little bit further away. But this summer we are hoping, as long as the stars align and we get all the funding that we're looking for, we are hoping to run our baseball program in Oakville or Burlington, depending on where we can get space. So that could be an option as well.
Yeah, because that's a little closer of the.
Yeah.
Okay, and if I just Google She Can, it should come up. The website should come up.
Yeah, if you Google MCRC She Can, and maybe Christine can send that out as well in the email.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, and actually we have spring registration up right now. So if you're looking for something right away, we've got programs coming up.
I'm thinking that with this school anxiety, I really think that this confidence and self-esteem piece is a piece I need to help her with.
Right.
We've just started Taekwondo, thinking that might be another way to feel confident and
yeah,
self, but I think this would be a great fit for her in terms of what I'm seeing she might need.
Yeah, no, I could see Taekwondo being super empowering. And you're in your body, you're moving, that can be really beneficial.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Kira and Christine, to both of you. Such an important topic. I want to thank you for doing it at night that I could attend and sharing such valuable information.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
We'll
too.
get some information out to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Have a
everybody.
great night.